sorry, we gotta scratch all that out because I wasn't even recording. That is so embarrassing, but you don't know what I did. I'm not gonna talk about it. Anyway, don't look at that. So I wanted to do a brief sketchbook tour and then I'm gonna draw something, okay? I'm sorry I'm aggressive. I'm just embarrassed by the mistake I made. I don't mean to take it out on you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But this is my sketchbook. I got it at Kinokuniya. They have a website, but I bought it in person. This is the first page. These are my OCs. These are the two main ones. Yeah, so this is the next page. I'm sorry I'm doing it at this angle. I don't really have the kind of tripod to do those over bird's eye view angle. I can't really do that. So please bear with me. This is like Pokemon OCs too. This right here. So this is like an idea for a gym leader that I have. Well, it wasn't my idea, but I just like made it inspired by someone else's idea. Their idea was to have like a gym where it's like that's based on sound, so like all of their Pokemon are related to sound and it's like loud and stuff. So in my head I was like, oh, they probably look like a rock star or something like that. So he plays like this double bass guitar kind of thing and he's like punk rock or whatever. This whole page is basically dedicated to this idea that I had, a manga kind of style set in a college setting. Because you know how there's that trope where the student-teacher relationship, I never really liked those kind of relationships because they're a teenager, the professor is well into their 30s. So I was like, oh, I think a college setting would be much better. She's like, I would say like 23, and he's like a young professor, so he's like 28, 29. Next page. I think this is the page I don't like. This is a drawing I did when I was sad. I didn't feel like I was being understood, and I felt like I was drowning in my own body. After I was done drawing, I felt better, because art usually does that for me. This page, I didn't really like either. We have, my favorite pages. So on this day, I was not feeling the best. In fact, I wasn't feeling anything, which is why I wrote down the word numb at the bottom. But basically, this was inspired by the painting Ophelia, which is the sinking painting in Animal Crossing. It always comes back to Animal Crossing. It's just a woman who's lying in a sea of stars, basically, which is why there's like a bunch of stars. Because in the original painting, it's like flowers and she's sinking in a river that has flowers in it. But for me, it was more of an astronomical feeling of numbness. I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just thinking back on it, I was like, wow, that was a terrible day, huh? But yeah, the way that I was feeling, it felt like it was beyond Earth. And this is supposed to be a crescent moon right here. And then there's like planets that are surrounding, that have also fallen. The next one, I really like this page. So I was feeling really bored that day. I didn't know what to do. And my friend works at I keep thinking it's a gas station, but it's a convenience store. But she works at a convenience store, and I can only imagine how boring that is. So I asked her, I was like, hey, can I draw you? And she was like, oh my gosh, I would be so honored. And so I drew her. And she's basically working at this kind of urban fantasy shop. So she's like selling all these random trinkets and ingredients, spices, and snacks. If you look closely, there are ghost animals here. Why are there ghost animals in a shop? Well, you see, the shop, it was originally an animal shelter. And what had happened was that when they were bulldozing the building, they forgot to take the animals out. And so there are ghost animals in the shop, which is where the shop was built upon. And yeah, Alright, so this is where my Pokemon phase started. This is my Alpha Luxray, whose name is Lucius. I love him so much. Did you know it's pronounced Arceus? Isn't that so lame? It's like GIF or GIF. I mean, GIF or GIF. It's GIF because it's like peanut butter. This is also my trainer with my Umbreon, who I named V. The first Eevee I caught in the game, in fact, who I turned into an Umbreon without knowing what it was gonna evolve to. I thought it was gonna become a Sylveon for some reason, even though they didn't have any fairy type moves. I wasn't like mad or anything, I was just surprised, and I was just like, you know, whatever. And then he turned out to be like the leader of like the whole team. Oh yeah, I was working on some icon ideas for this channel and my other channel. If you didn't know, I have a gaming channel. I'll link it down below. This is my Lucario, whose name is Anubis. Next is, oh my gosh, my pride and joy. So, if you know Pokemon, you might know that there's this character who is the only character that matters in the game, whose name is Automon. Wait, is it Automon or Automan? I mean, he is a man. Him and his Leafeon, I love him so much. He's literally the only character that I like in the game. I don't know, he's just so cool, and you know, my favorite color is blue. So I'm going to I'm going to draw something, but I really don't know what to draw yet. But yeah, I really hope my phone doesn't turn off because my portable charger is definitely dead. I really don't know what to draw. Let me see if I can ask my group chat. Someone else suggested draw your Minecraft character. No, I don't play Minecraft. I never will. I've been watching a lot of like interrogation videos lately on the JSC channel. Honestly, watching that makes me distrust people now, because it would just be like the most normal looking people and then they turn out to be just like horrible. Am I drawing this upside down? Oh my gosh, I am. Oh, you know what, who cares? This will probably be poetic when I'm done. You know, this would be good practice for me before I start streaming, which I don't know when that will be, by the way. So far, my group chat suggested Pikachu, your MC character, and then Bananaca is like, me. I'll just be like, great suggestion, guys. So like in Avatar, right? Yes, we're gonna talk about Avatar now. I guess spoilers ahead. Some of the couples, some of the canon couples don't make sense to me. Aang and Katara, that couple, it's, when you think about it, it's kind of a weird dynamic because Katara is very motherly, you know, with like the whole group, including her older brother. So like it's kind of weird that she ends up marrying Aang with her motherly personality and Aang's childlike personality. It's kind of weird that they became a couple. Like I know like opposites attract and everything, but in this case it's kind of weird. And on that subject of weird couples, Zuko and May, even as a kid I was like, what in the world is happening? Because like the only reason that they're a couple really is because like of course like they have stuff in common, but also they're like the same person. Like when you're in a relationship, do you want to date yourself? Like if you want to date yourself, stay single. Being with a person that's like you has like your same flaws. And personally, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want a partner that's like as sensitive as me, you know? Like, they can have it to some extent, but they can't. I don't want to be exactly like them and them be exactly like me. But do I like these hands? Okay, I shouldn't have picked this reference. Their relationship is so toxic to me. Like, they get together and they're just like, oh my gosh, I hate the world. And then the other one's like, yeah, me too, babe. And then, you know, they like make out or whatever. I might do the thing where I just don't draw the hands. It's a metaphor that the situation's out of her hands. That's really how like art classes be. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the kind of couple I wanted to see. I wanted to see Zuko end up with that girl at the tea shop because they were so cute. You can't tell me that they weren't cute. If not, I would have just like wanted Zuko to just be alone. Because like that would have been better than him and May. No offense if you like that couple. Now the hands are starting to look like Slender Man. But yeah, back on my tangent. And with Aang, I would have liked to see the development of like him and Mang. I thought that would have been cute and more appropriate. Yes, she was very obsessive and stalkerish, but you know, she's 12. Not that 12-year-olds aren't threatening, they are. In fact, they're the most ravenous of creatures. Aang, he matures over the show, so Mang could have had her own development where she matures as well. Maybe she could have been like, oh, Aang, I'm so sorry for, you know, stalking you. And, you know, I was an immature kid. And then Aang would just have like that moment where he's like, you know what, this girl kind of cute though. Or it would have been interesting to see Aang and Toph together. And I feel like they could have really strengthened each other. You know, with Toph, you know, telling him, hey, you're going to have to make really hard decisions sometimes. Or Aang could be like, hey, maybe you didn't have to break that guy's back. I didn't watch Legend of Korra because I'm sure that would get me talking for about 5 years. Because I heard some things about the show. Some things that I'm not a fan of. Most of the characters that I liked weren't there. Like, sure, Katara was there. But, you know, she wasn't the same, really. And then Sokka is dead. I think Suki was dead. Aang is dead. Princess Yue was dead. But, you know, that happened before the show started. But I'm still not over it. Azula isn't as scary as you think as a firebender. Imagine her as a waterbender, bro. Bloodbending? You know she would only be doing bloodbending. Like, maybe at the start she wouldn't like do it often because, you know, when you start bloodbending, you basically release yourself to madness, as the rule goes. But I feel like during her breakdown, she definitely would have been bloodbending that whole battle. I would love to see how the show would be if she was a waterbender instead, because that would, oof. They probably wouldn't have won in the end. I'm gonna go in with a small fine. Do that, yeah. This one never fails me. This is the extra small. Oh my gosh. The hands! I know you probably think, oh, they don't look that bad. But to me, they just look like... like, they look like Slender man hands, but at the same time they look like meaty and like in the wrong way. I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I love history. I love learning history, especially pirate history. You can ask my friends, I talk about Pirates of the Caribbean like all the time. Like I watched the fourth movie to completion and I was like, why is Blackbeard not scary? He's supposed to be like the most intimidating pirate in history, and they did him so dirty. They made him have too much of a personality that didn't suit him at all. Like he was very, like they tried to make him seem menacing, but in a funny way. It was like his delivery, I guess like maybe the director had him do his delivery wrong, or you know, they just did one take and it was like, all right, that's it. Not that he's like a bad actor, it was just like the delivery was like off. And like they try to make him extra scary by like having him like do like voodoo magic, which I don't even think he did like in real life. Not that like the pirate movies are historically accurate anyway. When you make a villain like Davy Jones, you can't top that. Like they started like way too high. But I sat through the movie to be able to fully form my opinion of it, so that way it's fair. I still didn't like it. Either the next day or like right after I was done watching it, I was like, okay, might as well watch the movie after that. And it was so bad. The villain, he was introduced, him and his crew, they're about to like raid someone or whatever, pillage and plunder, as pirates do. And then his first line was, "I am death." I immediately turned it off. Such a cartoonish villain line. You will never be Davy Jones. Like it was like they were trying to like steal from Davy Jones, because his first line is, "Do you feel death?" And then they had him saying, "I am death." This whole video I'm drawing and I didn't talk about art. Isn't that insane? Hello, welcome to another angle on my desk. So when I was recording this, it turned out I did some foreshadowing on my part with my phone turning off, and I thought I lost all of that footage, but thankfully it was just taking a long time to download, so I'll be able to post the video. I don't think I kept it in the video, but I said that I wasn't going to color it, but I don't want to end the video with me just being like, all right, I'm done now. But I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to do like a light wash of blue, so it's going to be very monochromatic. So this is the picture. I added some stuff that wasn't in the original sketch, so I added, is this the fish of the ocean? I added them right here, just jumping in the waves because it represents the ocean. And then I also added my interpretation of what Sokka's betrothal necklace would look like. So it's like the moon right here, and then below it is the ocean. Sorry I don't sound the best right now. I'm just going through something mentally. By the way, this is the Jaime gouache. I know it's hard to believe, but I was not a gifted child. I actually had to take some classes, like extra classes for my speech, which I like still kind of struggle with, because it was like really hard for me to pronounce stuff. And then I also had to take like extra math classes because I was like really bad at math. Like people, they really don't talk about the stupid kids enough. I don't mean stupid. I'm calling myself dumb, but I know I'm not. It's just math isn't for me. And at one point I had to like take classes to get better at English, like literature. But now like that's like the class I excel in. So those classes worked. Unfortunately, it did not cure my math problem. Math problem. Yeah, I would always have teachers that would be like, oh, you know, she's a nice student. She's just stupid. I would have teachers that would tell my parents, yeah, she's probably not going to get far in life. That's like what they would say when I was like in the first grade. Every math teacher I've ever had, except for one, hated me. I think the reason for that is because it was just so hard for me to understand. I had this one teacher in high school who, I don't say this lightly, but made my life a living hell. But like he did it in like a comedic way so that I don't have that much trauma from it. And I remember this one time he was like, yeah, I'll tutor you after school today. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I go by his class to go to the tutoring thing. I was like, all right, I'm ready. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to get tutored to learn some math. And then he's like, I'm not tutoring you. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like earlier today you said that you would tutor me. He's like, no, I never said that. I was like, yes, you did. And then he's like, no, I didn't. I was like, well, I'm here now, so can you do it? And then he was like, no, I'm not tutoring you right now. And I'm like, dude, but I have to catch the bus. And he's like, oh, well, you better run. Where his class was, it's literally on the other side of the school from like where all the buses go to like get kids. And then so I like race down all these hallways to get to the other side of the school, and I'm like running. I believe that the hallways were empty, so like none of the teachers like were saying no running or whatever, and even if they did, I would have kept running. And then I ran. My bus is like about to pull off, but the bus driver waited for me, and then I run onto the bus, and then like everyone applauded me. And the thing is that my brother was in his class, and the teacher loved my brother. But then when I got to his class, he didn't like me because I wasn't like my brother who was good at math. It was always like a 50-50 chance of like how the teachers would feel about me, because like my siblings would sometimes be the one to take their class first, and depending on like how they acted in class determined how the teacher was going to behave towards me. Because I remember when I took theater in my junior year, my brother, he did something for like the theater club. The director, aka the theater teacher, didn't like him. So then I started taking her class, and I feel like at first she didn't like me, but then she saw that I don't really cause conflict. So then she liked me. The same thing happened for my piano class. I believe he didn't like my sister and also my brother, but then I took his class and he was like, oh, you're not so bad. He actually asked me to like take the class again, but I was like, no, I'm sorry, but art is my true passion. And he was upset when I said that. But I kind of regret not taking the piano class, because I think that was like the first year I took the art class, and then it turned out I learned virtually nothing in that class. So I was like, dang, I should have stayed in piano where I actually learned something. Did y'all have a senior field trip? So it's like all the seniors, right? And we go to this place and we're all having fun. We're in groups. We're buying expensive stuff, like getting like candy and souvenirs and things like that. And we're just having a blast. And then our chaperone, they're like, hey, we gotta leave the park. And we're like, why? We're like having so much fun. And then the chaperone says, well, one of the other students, they stole something and got kicked out, so they're kicking us all out of the park. It ended our senior trip because of this one person that didn't know how not to steal. It's not like they just like punish one person and everyone else can like have fun. They punished like the whole school.